All right, so welcome back, you guys. This is session two of Burnout to Balance, reclaiming yourself as a woman, a mother, and a professional. I am London Williams, and today we're going to be diving into something that so many of us experience, but really, really talk about, which is burnout from being the strong one at work. Because listen, we already got to be the strong one at home, but what about being the strong one at work? So, if you have ever felt like you are constantly proving yourself in a corporate setting while also trying to keep everything together at home, this is definitely the session for you. So, let's get into it. So, in session one, we talked about that invisible load of motherhood, right? And how burnout can sneak up on us. Today, though, we're diving into another layer of burnout, and this is corporate pressure and the cost of constantly showing up as the strong one. So, I have a couple of questions. Are you a woman who is navigating career life, especially as a mother? Like, are you navigating your career life? And how does that feel? Because I'm pretty certain you know how heavy it can feel just trying to maintain it all, right? For many of us, the workday doesn't just end at 5 p.m. And if you're a mom, your workday doesn't begin, let's just say, giving you a range, for, you work from 8 to 5. And if you work from 8 to 5, if you aren't a mom, maybe you don't have to get up at 5 o'clock. Maybe you like getting up at 5 o'clock. Irregardless, for me as a mother of five, I'm up at 5 o'clock. My boys, they get themselves situated because they're older, they're in high school. But then I have three younger ones that I have to get up, I have to cook for, I have to get them situated, I have to make sure that they're good before we go ahead and leave out for school. And then my work day starts, right? And then after I have my whole entire 8 hour shift and it's over at 5 o'clock, I still have to go to another shift. And that's that shift of motherhood at home. So it's literally just those shifts from leading meetings or leading to lead meals, right? From emails to ELA homework, right? The truth is, many women, especially women of color, are working double time. At work, we're expected to be competent, composed, constantly productive. But then at home, we're expected to be nurturing, organized, and available at all times. And all of that giving, there's barely time to really check in with ourselves. When was the last time you went to work and then came home and could really just be like, you know what? Let me just take a moment for self. Let me just take a moment and just check in with how I'm feeling. What I used to do, honestly, was go sit in my car for about an hour because coming from work and I commuted. So my commute was like an hour. So coming from that New York hustle and bustle, getting on that train, and then coming home, I'm like, wait a minute, I need a moment, right? I need a moment. Otherwise, I don't know who I'm going to show up as. So I would literally just go sit in my car. It might be for 30 minutes, it might be for an hour. Whatever that woosah meant for me, that's what I needed to do in the car, just for a moment, just sit there and just be. But even then, like just doing that, I would find myself pushing back that time. Like while I'm supposed to be upstairs cooking, or while I'm supposed to be upstairs helping my kid with the homework, or I'm supposed to be upstairs maybe taking care of the laundry. I'm sitting there and I'm taking that hour, that 30 minutes in the car. And so that's taken away from something that I could be doing in the house. And so now I got to rush in the house and I feel like I'm rushing, 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 trying to get everybody situated. Now we're behind schedule. Now instead of the kids being in bed at 8, they're not in bed until about 10 o'clock. Late homework. So we just keep grinding. We just keep pushing. Eventually, though, eventually, that pressure becomes a weight on our chest. It becomes a fog in our mind or tears that fall at like literally the most inconvenient times. Because we could be sitting here trying to keep it all together. And it would be like the one little needle on a haystack that just sets us off. And now we're just sitting here trying to figure out what the hell am I crying for? Right? Or maybe you missed that email at work and your boss is asking you, like, oh, London, you forgot the email. Or did you not see my email? And now you're like on a verge of tears. Not because your boss said anything wrong, not because, you know, they were a little rude about it, but because you felt that pressure. right? The pressure, or you come home and your kids are like, Mom, I didn't finish my homework. Or Mom, I have this project that's due. Or Mom, can you take me here? Or Mom, I have somewhere to go tomorrow. Or Mom, I have a field trip tomorrow. And you're just like, oh my God. Oh my God. And so now you ready to break down crying, and they're just like, and now they feel bad, maybe, maybe, because they done asked you for something and you really don't even have the capacity to help them. But they don't know this because they're just kids. What do they know? Right? The next, I want to talk about that strong woman trap. I remember in one of my podcasts, I talked about being superwoman. My dad, like, he used to always call me a superwoman, and I hated it with a passion. I used to tell him, like, Dad, don't call me superwoman. Don't call me. He was like, why? Because you are. You handle all of this. I don't know how you have these kids and handle it. Like, I don't know how you do it on a daily basis. Like, you are a superwoman. You go to work, you went to school, and you still juggling that for a very long time. I was a single mom. So, I just had to figure it out. I was blessed with some amazing, amazing friends. So when I was going for my undergrad degree, my friends we was scheduling our times, our school shifts around each other. But, I still had work to do. I still had other things that I had to take care of. And although my school schedule might have been taken care of, my home life wasn't taken care of, and my work life wasn't taken care of by anybody else outside of me. So I be like that. Don't call me no superwoman. But more often than not, we wear that strong, like it's a badge of honor, right? But strength without softness, honestly, it's really just survival. And how many of us can say that we've been in survival? Just think about it. Like, how many of us can really sit back and be like, dang, all of this time I've just been surviving? And how do you thrive when you're just in survival mode, right? Surviving isn't the goal, thriving is. So, how can you thrive when you're just stuck in survival mode? Because do you know what survival mode looks like? Survival mode looks like doing what you have to do, not because you want to do it, but because you have to do it. Survival mode looks like maybe you're just chasing the money because you feel like if you don't take care of these kids, who will? Maybe you're in survival mode because you feel like if nobody else does it, if I don't do it, who else is going to do it? Right? So I know for me, just being in survival mode has been like, that's just been like, I want to say that's just been at the forefront of my life for so long, just being in survival mode, just having to do it all of the time. And just feeling like, you know what, bump it. I'm not gonna ask for help. Who's gonna help me anyway? I have to take my kids here. I have to do this. I have to figure it out. And then how does survival mode show up when you're at work? You don't even realize, like, when you're in survival mode, you still carry that same mentality at work where it's just like, instead of you reaching out to your supervisor and letting your supervisor know, hey, I'm struggling with this email, or I'm struggling with this assignment, or I'm struggling with this project, you're just stuck like, you know what? I'm going to figure it out. I've got this. I'll figure it out. But what if you can't figure it out? And then what's stopping you from asking for help? Because in your mind, you feel like, well, in the past, I've asked for help before and I haven't gotten it. So I'm going to just go ahead and figure this out on my own. But you don't thrive in that area because then now, when you don't figure it out, you now show up at work as someone who may or may not be incompetent, who may not be able to handle work under pressure, who may not be able to handle these projects by this deadline because you're not speaking up for yourself. So survival mode will have you overlooked and overworked. So maybe you felt the need to be the one who always has it together. Maybe you felt like there's no room for vulnerability at work or even at home. But I want you to say this: it is not my job to carry it all because it's not. You can have these limitations or these limits and still be powerful, right? You can be driven, but still need to rest. The real power comes in knowing when to pause and knowing that you're enough without overperforming, knowing when to ask for help, knowing when to tag something, tag, like tag, you're it. I can't do this no more. Tag, you're it. So I just want you to say this. I have to repeat it again. It is not your job to carry it all. Get out of survival mode. Stop just surviving. It is literally time to thrive. And what that looks like is allowing your softness to pull you through, right? Allowing that vulnerability to shine, letting people in and not being afraid of it. Yes, do you want to have discernment when doing so? Absolutely. But when you are at work and you have those projects coming up, or you have like an abundance of emails, and you have all of this work on your table and you're trying to figure out how the hell you're going to get it done, tag you're it, reach out to somebody for help because you don't want to get overlooked at work. You don't want to seem incompetent. You don't want to seem like you're lacking that confidence to reach out. All of that is important. And that's why you have a team, or you're supposed to have a team at work, right? Your team is your manager, your coworkers, anybody that you need to reach out to let them know, hey, I need help. I want to talk about rewriting the rules. So let's challenge the rules that keep us burned out, right? Here they go. Hustle does not equal worth. It really doesn't. Everybody can hustle, but just because you're hustling doesn't mean like you're worth it all. Just because you're hustling doesn't mean you're worth any more than the next person. That's a false narrative that you're telling yourself. Busyness is not the same as success. Just because you're busy all the time, it doesn't mean that you're successful. That's the truth. Saying no doesn't make you difficult. No is a complete sentence, first of all. Like I have to tell my son that. I have to tell my kids that all the time. Like, no is a complete sentence. I don't need to give you an explanation as to why I'm saying no. It's just no. That's it. That's all. And resting isn't lazy, it's necessary. Resting is not lazy, it is necessary. It is important. It is imperative that you rest. It is imperative that you pour back into your cup. You replenish your cup because if you are pouring from an empty cup, how far will you go? It's only a matter of time before you are burned out. And what does burnout look like? Right? So today we're going to rewrite the rules of how we show up. So I want you to ask yourself these questions, and I just wrote down three of them. What am I no longer available for in this season of my life? Where can I soften without guilt? Where can I set boundaries that honor me? And it's really, really important to have boundaries. It's really even important to have boundaries because believe it or not, when you have those boundaries, so many different things in your life will show up in a different way for you. You have boundaries with food. You have boundaries with your children. You have boundaries at work. I remember this one job that I was working at, and don't get me wrong, it was a good firm. It was a great firm. However, I was exhausted. So I work in accounting, and our month end, not even month end, our year end was the calendar was it wasn't calendar quarter. It was from June to July, right? So by July, like I'm working extra hours. My kids are out of school mid-June. I'm not showing up home until probably damn near 11, 12 o'clock, exhausted. So by the time the weekend comes, I'm beat, I'm burned. I can't, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to do anything. But here we are in the middle of the summertime, and my man and my supervisor, he's like, you got to come in, you got to work these extra hours. He even gave us like, we had an extra phone. And so he said we were on call. And I can't even tell you how many times I would get a call. Hey, London, this needs to be updated. I'm home in bed and I'm exhausted. And I have to get up and I have to do this. Then I have to turn around and I have to get up and do it all over again the next day. So even one shift, one bold no, or one committed pause can change your energy and restore your peace. Literally, I had to just learn how to say no. I left the job. It was too much for me. I can't tell you how many jobs I've had where I would allow myself to be burned out because I lacked the boundaries that I need. I always just wanted to show up as the one that had it all together, even when I didn't. Even when like home was upside down, I still want to show up at work as though I had it all together. So I remember this one time I got up on a good Saturday. I rushed to work, walked past everybody's office, and I'm like, first of all, I'm stressed out because now it's like after 9 o'clock. I'm like, oh my God, I'm late. I'm late. I'm late. So I sent my manager a nice little made up message as to why I'm late. I get up, rush into the office, and all of the offices are just dark. And I'm just like, where is everybody? And then I make it to my office. And I hated to turn on the lights because lights, I just felt like it was, so I would keep the lights off. And I went to my desk, and as I'm logging in, it finally dawned on me, girl, it is Saturday. What are you doing? That's why all of the offices are so dark. I said, oh, snap. So now I go to Gmail just to see if I could retrieve that message back because I know at this point my boss is going to know like I'm losing my mind. But that's when I realized I was literally on autopilot. Like I was literally on autopilot. So I left one job to like avoid the burnout, only to go to another job and burn myself out even more. And it wasn't like they was requiring this of me. Like they just wasn't, but it was just something I was so used to. Because again, I was so stuck in survival mode and I didn't know how to take myself out of it. Yeah, I might have left that job, but I didn't leave my mentality. I didn't change my mindset. And that's really important. That's so important. So, again, I'm going to ask you these 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself. What am I no longer available for in this season? Where can I soften without guilt? And where can I set boundaries that honor me? Because, again, even one shift, one bold no, or one committed pause can change your energy and literally restore your peace. So, just as we did with the last session. This session, I want to wrap it up with some affirmations because I believe affirmations are really powerful. So I want to close with this affirmation. I do not have to shrink to be seen or overextend to be valued. Don't say it loud, breathe it in. You get to take up space. You get to rest and show up as your whole self. So in our next session, we're going to talk about identity, right? The many hats we wear, the parts of us that we buried, and how we begin rediscovering who we are beneath these roles. Listen, mom, I want to tell you, you are doing beautifully. Okay. I want you to keep choosing you because you are important. If you enjoyed the session, it will be coupled with a workbook, and the workbook will be called Detoxing the Pressure. Detoxing the Pressure. I hope you enjoyed this session. Okay. And as I like to say all the time on my TikToks and all of my little videos, if nobody has told you today, I love you. But tune in for session 3 because it's going to be a good one. All right, guys. Bye now. Your power does not come from how much you produce. It comes from who you are, your presence, your boundaries, and your worth. So be sure to fill out this week reflection page to help you create your power pause because one small change can protect your energy in a big way. And if this message hit home, drop a comment below and let me know what is your biggest aha. All right. I'll see you in our final session where we are diving deep into the truth behind our mini goals and how to finally prioritize yourself without guilt. I'll see you next week.